We've seen in guitar mode how we can use these strumming keys to create different rhythms by programming them up or playing them in real time, but we also have a MIDI loop mode. And strumming patterns, again, are created using these special strumming keys, but we have MIDI loops that we can use that are preset strumming key patterns. Now you can see here the keyboard has changed. We have the chords key section in the middle, and we have loop keys from which MIDI loops reproducing the strumming key patterns are triggered. And it's the same range as the strumming keys in guitar mode. It's the top octave here, or 3 octaves below middle C down there. Now the automatic voicing of chords in loop mode is done in the same way as in guitar mode, so these are all respected. And I'm going to use the drop lowest voicing right now just to get something a bit funkier and a bit higher up. And I switch to electric guitar sound. And I'm going to just play what I have programmed up. Here are the chords, and I'm going to put it in auto strumming mode in guitar just so you can hear the whole notes in the simple 3-note voicings that I'm using, or 4 notes in some cases. Anyway, etc. Now I'm going to switch to loop mode, and each strum preset that we call up here is saved with a set of 7 loops, and they're called a loop pack, and we work with them in this section here. Now, in this mode, the 7 white notes in the loop key section of the keyboard from C to B over here and 3 octaves below are used to trigger one of these 7 loops in the loop pack. And the loop packs can be loaded from this loop module when we're in play view. So I can use this Show Files button to open up a Finder window and see and look at the files here on the hard drive, and they're located in your Global Library Application Support AAS Strum GS-2. There's MIDI library with 2 subfolders, Factory Electric and the regular factory ones. But it's much more elegant to work with them with the simple database here. So we get to these 2 main folders here for Factory and Factory Electric, and then here we get to the individual loop packs that we can load in and work with whatever preset that we call up. So the way it works is that the currently selected loop is indicated by the purple key here. When I hit the notes on my keyboard, you'll see that the active loop changes. You can see me hitting here as well. And once they're triggered, the loops play until the notes held in the chord key section are released, or when we hit the B flat or C note. And the difference is the B flat mutes all strings and the sound will stop immediately. And when we hit C, the loop stops, but the sound decays naturally. So let me load some in here, and I'll play some for you in real time by hitting play on my sequencer and just triggering the notes in real time, or we can record our trigger notes and bring them in here, or we can use drag and drop. But let's go to electric, and I'm going to just switch to a couple of loop packs that I like, that I've tried out with this and that I like. There's a nice R&B one over here. And let's play, and I'll trigger some in real time. And let's try another one just to give you an idea of some of the different things that are possible. There's one I like here called Busy Funk. And I use some silence notes there as well. Let's try one more. There's one I like here called Tuner Funk. So that's why you can play them in real time. Now, when you find some you like, you can simply drag and drop these into your DAW. So I'm hitting the D key here, and we see here that it's loop D. Let's say I hit G. There's G. So let's say I like D and G. I'm going to take this one, just drag it in, and I'm not going to import the tempo information. It's going to follow my DAW, and you can place it wherever you want, of course. And if we look, you can see the trigger notes that are used. So let's say I'll hit also A. I like that one as well. I can drag and drop that one there. So you can put together your own little collection of these and your own patterns and loop and trim and edit them as you want. And when you do this, make sure, of course, to turn off loop mode. Otherwise, you'll be triggering different loops with each of these notes. So you go back to guitar mode, and now you'll see and hear those patterns played. So that's the way the MIDI drag and drop works. But I'm going to turn that off and go back to loop mode. I'm going to show you another way to influence the quality of the performance of these. Let's get some nice loops going here. Okay, I'm just going to leave that one C note going. Now we can influence the performance with some MIDI controllers. When we click this MIDI button, we can assign either pitch or aftertouch mod wheel or any of these other controllers to affect any of these. So for example, I can control the dynamics. I'll go play softer and I'll assign that maybe to pitch bend wheel. So now when I go in negative territory, it'll play louder, and positive territory, it'll play softer, so I can control the level like that. And you can see, of course, I was moving my pitch wheel based on that. So we can influence the performance that way by setting up to 2 of these. Let's say I wanted to also have my mod wheel control something else, like maybe the strum speed. I'll just click the close box here. So you can get a nice kind of performance aspect if you're using these in real time. So let's look at a little recap of what we looked at here. In loop mode, strumming patterns are created using the special strumming keys, and the MIDI keyboard is divided into the chord key section and a loop key section from which the MIDI loops are triggered. The automatic voicings that we looked at in the last video all work in loop mode, and each preset is stored with 7 loops called a loop pack, but you can change them manually. So they're mapped out to the C to B above the end of the guitar range, or 3 octaves below middle C, and they're loaded in play view. The currently selected loop is indicated by the purple key on the keyboard, and once they're triggered, they're held down until you hit either B flat to mute the loop or C to stop it, but let the last chord ring out if it's a sustained chord. And we can use that MIDI assign button to assign 2 MIDI performance controls. See you for more in the next video.